what is up? Welcome back to my channel, Fixing It Up with Sandra. And in case you're new here, I'm Sandra. So today, as promised, we are going to talk about wax for the candles. I wanted to talk more about candle making, and so I figured the best way to start is with the wax, like our number one ingredient. I see a lot of questions about different waxes and whatnot with the candle groups that I follow on Facebook. So I just want to give you my opinion. And let me be very clear, this is my opinion. Definitely do all of the research, find what works best for you. I'm just going to share the 3 waxes that I use that I have just found the most benefit with. I know that like candle making, there's so many choices, just like with anything that you do. There's so many choices and it's so hard to decide, especially when you're starting out. You're like, okay, what really works best? How do I know what, I'm gonna like and all of that stuff. So like I said, let me just share my 3. I do have a couple of notes just because I wanted to answer some of the more frequently asked questions when it comes to wax, the wax that you choose. And so if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask, especially if it has to do with these 3. If it's any other wax, I really am not familiar with too much, but you never know. I might be able to still answer your questions. So without further ado, I think I have a thing on my eyelash, but without further ado, I want to introduce to you the most, I would say basic, because it's probably what most beginners start with, which is the 464 soy wax. And I have that right here. As you can see, it is flaky. This is it right here. It's one of my favorite waxes. And I say that without having actually used any other wax. I am a simple gal. I'm a simple gal. I like the things to work simply. Is that even like the correct sentence? But I have just not found any performance issues with this wax. And so I'm like, why fix something if it's not broken? This is obviously what I started out with. Let me take that back. That is not true. I actually started buying wax on Amazon. If you've ever seen like Eric X, there's a few other brands that are on Amazon that I think a lot of beginners, they buy that. And then the wax, unfortunately, is not labeled like what kind of wax it is. It's just like candle wax, here it is. And then you melt it down and then you start adding fragrance oils, not even really like knowing the true science of that wax, because there's so much that goes into wax that we need to know in order for it to perform at its best. So that's what I actually started working with. Like I said, the Amazon wax, because I really wasn't pouring a bunch of candles. I was just making a few here and there. But when I really started to get into pouring candles, and I realized that candle making is truly a science, I went with the 464 right here, okay? Then I started my Etsy shop, and I really started doing a lot of research, because my first thought was like, I live in California where it is blistering hot during the summer. How am I going to be sure that my candles aren't going to melt? So during shipping. And so that just like became like my number one thing, because I was just like, I don't understand how this can happen. Like, how can you mail a candle? I know it can be done. I've bought candles by mail prior to me ever starting a candle business, but this was something I thought of. And I read a lot of things about people using 444, Golden Brand 444. This is Golden Brand 464. And so I started doing a little research. It is still in its beautiful box that it came in. So this is the 444, which is still in its, like in this type of, this is what it looks like. I couldn't think of the word that I was trying to say, but it's still flaky. This is a 50-pound box, and we'll get into that in a moment, like how much I paid for this. So this is a 50-pound box of the 444, which I started using. So I actually kind of go back and forth. I go back and forth between the 464 and the 444. It's not my personal favorite because it can be a little temperamental for me. Some people absolutely love it. They swear by it and they only use that. I use this during the summer. Well, when it starts to get hot, because this has a higher melting point. So when I make my candles and then I ship them, the likelihood, let me just do this. The likelihood of them melting in transport is much lower. Let me just say that's not, I'm not going to say that it's never going to happen. Heaven forbid. Oh, I would absolutely be mortified. Oh my God. That's like my worst nightmare. And when I was a waitress, it was forgetting someone's ranch. But this has a higher melting point. And so in case you're writing notes for this, so the 464 melting point is between 113 and 119 degrees. This has a high melting point of 119 degrees to 125 degrees. So it's about 6-7 difference, but that definitely means a lot to me when I'm shipping a candle to a customer. I definitely want to try to do everything that I possibly can to make sure that this candle is not going to melt. So anyway, so I use the 444 during the summertime, and then I go back to my, my true pal here, the 464. They both do so I know a lot of beginners when they work with either wax or any other wax, they're so concerned about, glass adhesion, frosting and all of that, like the top's not forming perfectly, and that's all going to be a part of your pouring techniques, melting techniques. It's just something that you're just going to have to learn over time. Hands down, you will definitely pour perfect candles, in the beginning and throughout your candle career. You're definitely going to pour perfect candles. Even from the minute that you pour your first candle, that could come out perfect. But there will be times when the humidity in the room might be a little different. The temperature might be a little different. Your pouring temps, your stirring and all that, all these little factors will play into when you pour it into the container, how it sets. Just please don't beat yourself up over it. But it's very important, and I wish I had it right on hand with me. So I went to the dollar store and I got just a notebook, with a little spirally thing. I got a notebook and I literally, I hate when people, I don't know why I say this word. I really did write down every single note. Even when I messed up, I never tore out the page because it was always so refreshing to go back and see when I start to think of something, I'm like, oh, Sandra, we already looked at that and we discovered that it didn't work. I would X out any kind of ideas or some, tricks and tips that I use that didn't work. So write down every little thing that you do when you are playing around with wax. Write down the exact temperature that you are pouring out, because then you can always go back to it and you're like, okay, you can change and you can tweak things, and you have that information right there on hand for you to go back on. In fact, let me just grab my notebooks. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna grab my notebooks real fast, and once you get in, once you get about a couple of years in, like I am, and I'm more than a couple of years, but I officially say a couple of years. It's really cool to just look back on your notes. And I know I'm kind of coming away from the wax, but I'm going to get to that in just a second. So, okay. So this was my very first notebook. I've got notes in here that are scratched out, just all kinds of stuff. But when you're playing around with wax, like I said, if you're okay, I have a lot of glass, the adhesion, I have what are called wet spots. It's where you see that the wax has pulled away from the jar. Totally normal. Let me just put that out there. Totally normal. If you don't like it, then cover it with a label, and if it happens to go all the way around, that's just something that a soy wax will do. It shrinks when it melts, and so that's why it's pulling away from the jar. And sometimes you can just pour at a little bit lower temperature to see if that fixes the problem, because the soy wax is trying to go back into its natural state, so it's shrinking down. But again, it does not affect the performance of the candle. It is still going to be a great candle. That's just what happens when, you know, sometimes we pour a little too hot. With these waxes, you want to pour at about 135 degrees. Sometimes I know, like I pour like sometimes at 140, but again, you have to take in all of the elements that you're pouring in. You know, write down the temperature. I have like this great little Therm Pro that I got, because I got this for making bath bombs. It's just like a little temperature gauge. Yes, it is 77 degrees in here, and it is 44% humidity. So this, I mean, you can write down what your temperature is, what the humidity is, because that does affect the candle making process. Just like it does with my bath bombs, boy, I can definitely tell when the temperature and the humidity was off. So that's what I would do. Again, these are great beginner waxes. They have a fragrance load of 10%. Now, do not use the 1 pound of wax to 1 ounce of fragrance oil ratio. Absolutely not. Every single website that you would buy this kind of wax on will let you know how to calculate your wax for your fragrance load. But yes, you want to use like this. You can go up to 10% on this, which is a nice percentage for container candles. I really like that. So you can use, you know, all the way up to 10. You can use as low as 6, between 6 and 10. So you get a really nice, what's called a hot throw is what the candle, what you smell when the candle is burning, the fragrance of the that you smell when the candle is burning. But these two are my favorite waxes. Like I said, this 444 is what I prefer during the summertime, and then this is what my go-to. When it comes to making, I'm like, squirrel, let's change the subject. But before I do that, let me just get into pricing, because I know that the prices can be jarring. Let me just say that first off. Candle making is an expensive craft, especially, you know, for us small businesses. You know, we do have pricier candles, and that's just because, you know, we aren't machines, and so and so, you know, we buy in smaller quantities, you know, and then it costs money for us to pour it too. So anyways, here's what we've got. Okay. Wax is going up in price in such, to me, at an alarming rate that I'm like, oh my God, I'm starting to like hoard wax. Ever since the pandemic, you know, a lot of people turned to candle making, and I totally understand that, because for me, it is so relaxing. It is so soothing. It is comforting. Smells, you know, they do say that like smells can trigger, you know, relaxation, memories, good feelings, all of that stuff. So I think a lot of us were just trying to, you know, calm the fruit down during the pandemic, you know, so we were just like, let me make all my candles. So, okay, I buy my wax from Candle Wick. They do it with 50-pound boxes. I know a lot of places they do 45 pounds, and that's because like once you go over that 45-pound weight, then the pricing becomes really, really ridiculous. However, I don't know how Candlewick was able to pull this one off, but they do a 50-pound box, okay? Obviously, you can get it in smaller portions, but I buy it in the 50 pounds. I buy it with the price, with the shipping included. So 50 pounds of the 444 or the 464 as of today is currently $135.99. That's right. For 50 pounds, 50, not 45, for 50 pounds, it is $135.99. This is incredibly jarring to me, because last year I was paying $98.99. I know. It has gone up. In fact, last week is when I got this. I wish this had like a stamp date. I forget what date I got this. That's not when I bought this. I just got this mailed to me last week. And this was, I think I got this like on the 24th or something like that. I paid $125.75 for the 50 pounds. Today, it's been like a week, maybe a week and a half. It is up to $135.99. And I actually bought 100 pounds of wax just because I have been seeing it constantly going up. And I'm like, oh my God, like I can't afford to like keep raising my prices, you know, but wax is like gasoline. Like it just, like every week it's going up. Like, let me just have my moment. So anyways, if you order through Candle Science, which I know is a super popular website or supplier, I absolutely love Candle Science. But during, you know, all of the years that I've been making candles up until today, this has always been cheapest through Candlewick, the wax has. But right now, Candle Science is currently 45 pounds, okay, for $118.84. Now, I know you're like, oh, that's way cheaper. But again, you're only getting 45 pounds. You're not getting 50. So I broke it down. With Candlewick, it is currently, today, $2.71 a pound, okay? With Candle Science, it's currently $2.64 a pound, okay? That's me living in California. Candle Science is just 3 hours away, which I will be going to at some point in time, which is just right here in Reno, about 4 hours away. So if you live clear across the United States from Candle Science, definitely check out Candlewick because the price that I was telling you about, the $135.99, that is with shipping included. And that's, from what I understand, shipping anywhere. So like if you are I don't even know where they're located. I want to say they might be located in like Pennsylvania. So just, play around with, pricing and all that, but I know it's definitely expensive. So that is these are container waxes. These are not to make pillars. I've heard of some people making tart wax with this, but that is not what this is designed for. It is a very soft wax with like pillars and wax tarts. You want like a rock hard wax because you break the wax tarts apart and you want your pillars to like not, crumble when they're lit from just being so soft. So anyways, that's the information that I wanted to give you for this. And let's move that over. Tart wax. Now, I looked around everywhere for tart wax. This is by far my absolute favorite. Never gonna change. Can't find anything better. And I absolutely love it. The price, unfortunately, keeps skyrocketing. But this is what they call, oh gosh, this is heavy. It is a TW-30 wax. Once again, this is an all soy wax, all soy. Okay, hold on. This is very hard wax, very hard. I love this. This is a tart wax. I love it for my tarts. It can be used in a container and it can be used for pillars. I strictly use this for my tarts. It comes in 10 pounds. So this is 10 pounds right here. These two slabs, there's two slabs right here. You just take a knife and you chop it up to the amount you need, or if you just chop it up and put it in your Presto pot and do it that way, that's how I do it. This wax is incredible. The reason why I was looking for this type of wax, first of all, I wanted to stay with soy. I didn't want any kind of other blends just because, I just want to go with what's good. Soy wax here, soy wax here, soy wax here. I was looking for an all-natural soy wax. Secondly, I wanted something with a high fragrance load. What I've learned with wax, making wax melts, tarts, people are always like, is it like Scentsy? Is it like Scentsy? I always get that. I don't know what Scentsy uses for their wax, but I know that when you initially put a cube of Scentsy wax into your warmer, it's super fragrant, like you smell, it just smells so good. This wax right here has an 18% fragrance load, which means it's almost double the amount of fragrance that you can put in here. Almost, like I said, it's 18%. I cannot find another tart wax that has this high of a fragrance load. What that means is that your wax cubes, instead of like one wax cube lasting maybe a day, I never turn off my wax warmers. Those suckers go all day long. And for someone like me, I can put a wax cube in my warmer and it can last up to 3 days, okay? And of course it depends on the fragrance too, but for that long, for like one little cube is incredible. Of course, the smell, starts to fade out, and it could go even further than the 3 days. If you're someone who uses your wax warmer sparingly, one wax cube can last you, so much longer. And what you want, like when somebody's buying like a wax melt package from you, you want them to get something that, they're going to be really excited about, that's going to make their entire space smell so good. And of course, depending on the size of the room is definitely a factor, but you want them to be like, oh my gosh, yes, it's like my Scentsy, because that's the one thing that, like I said, I always get. But you want them to be happy with just being able to use one cube for multiple days on end. You don't want them to have to change out their cube every single day, because that's not a good product. So this wax, I have searched so many candle supply companies for something that goes up to 18%. And guess what, guys? I use 18%. I'm the kind of person that I'm like, kick me in the face with fragrance when I put it into my warmer. Now, even though I use 18% in all of my wax melts, depending on the fragrance itself, some of it's going to be like a super mild fragrance, but guess what? That super mild fragrance is going to last up to 3 days with never turning your warmer off. And again, you have to take into account the size of the room that you're using this warmer in. But this one is incredible. Now, this right here is, let me get the price on it, because this one is $26.10 a pound, or for 10 pounds. Okay. So with shipping, because of weight, like this is down south. It's in California, but it's down south. If I ever get to LA, man, I'm going to come back with like 100 pounds of tart wax. Of course, shipping is definitely a factor. I want to say that this is $26.10 a pound. I want to say I paid about $12, between $12 and $15 to get it shipped to me, which is so frustrating because I'm like, the wax is only $26 and I paid this. But, you got to do what you got to do. And of course, include that shipping cost into your price of the wax melt. But yes, this is an incredible wax to work with. So you can use it in a container. And I'm seeing right here that it says, if you're going to put this in a container, use only between 8 and 12%, which is still a really nice fragrance load. And you can use it in pillars, like, freestanding candles, but use to 6 to 8% for that. This is from California Candle Supply. I have not been able to find this wax anywhere else. And if anybody else is using the TW-30 wax and you get it from a different supplier, let me know. I'm probably not going to order it from anywhere else, simply because I figured the company's in California, I'm in California, the shipping's probably as cheap as it can be, considering we're still in the same state. So from anywhere else, I would just imagine that it would be way more expensive. You never know. This is a wax that is constantly going up as well. I used to pay $19 for 10 pounds. And as you know, I don't know what it is today. This was the price that I paid. This was the price today, $26.10. I'm like, you know, it sucks, but you know, they say it's because of raw materials that have gone up, and then of course, you know, just supply and demand. So anyways, TW-30 wax. These are my 3 favorite waxes. Like, let's pose. I absolutely love them. Again, I love working with soy. It is trial and error from the minute you start. And I would say as a pro, you know, we still have, you know, like a bad pour, you know, but, you know, as you keep a notebook, like I said, keep this kind of a notebook, write down all of your, you know, factors, and, you know, just, you'll get into the groove of it. You'll find your niche, and you will find what works for you where you are at. And then of course you'll find what wax works best for you. Some people like parfum, some people like beeswax. It's all totally up to you. But like I said, these are my 3 favorite waxes. Boop, boop. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share this with you. This is what I use for all of my candles. I really love the soy wax. So, so yeah, if you have any questions regarding these 3 waxes, let me know. If you have anything that you would like to share with anybody, definitely leave it in the comments. I read them, other people read them. It's definitely helpful, you know, to get all of the opinions, as long as they're in good, you know, in good context. So anyways, that is my wax tutorial for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, just so I know that candle making stuff is what you want to see. I want to share as much information in little bits, because it helps so much in candle making, because like I said, it can be super overwhelming. Next, we will get into fragrance oils. We'll start playing around with that. But anyways, yes, make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and hit that notification bell. And also, if you'd like to see more stuff, please subscribe to my membership. It is $4.99 a month, and you get all kinds of access and perks and all that other fun stuff. So, yeah, here's to candle making. I hope you guys, you know, really find candle making as soothing and as comforting as I do. I absolutely love it. Even though, like, I went from just making it for my own personal uses and for friends and family, growing it into a business, it's one of those things that, you know, you never get tired of doing. So anyways, thank you so much for joining, and I will see you guys again in my next tutorial.